Well, hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Slow Flowers Show. And I'm Deborah Prinzing, and I'm delighted to welcome our guests today, Elizabeth and Mike Zawislak of Bluegreen Gardens. They're based in the Columbus, Ohio area. You guys are in Lancaster, is that correct?
Yes, Lancaster, Ohio.
Lancaster. Okay, great. Well, it's weird. We met years ago at a Team Flower conference, I think, in Florida, right? Is that?
Yes.
I distinctly remember talking with you in the lobby of that property.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure I had a big sunburn at that point in time.
Oh, well, that's good. I was trying to remember, did you have children then or?
No.
Okay.
Nope. That was pre-kids. Yeah, you did a Slow Flowers meetup. So we met there and then
Yes.
got talking. I don't even know.
A lot has
In the
happened.
bar.
A lot has happened since then. That was like, I want to say 2018 or something.
It was 2018, yes.
And so you've joined Slow Flowers. I religiously read your newsletter. You have beautiful content. I'm going to pop up your website in a little bit, but give me a snapshot right now of how you describe Bluegreen Farms. And I love the name. You maybe tell us how that name came about too.
Sure. I guess we can start with that. The name Bluegreen Gardens. Yeah, and I'm glad you like it. It's kind of, I go back and forth. But that name kind of popped into my head. And we can talk. Mike and I actually met at Longwood Gardens. I was an intern there. I don't know what year that was. A while ago. And I was just thinking about what I was going to do next, and just something came into my head. I'm like, I'm going to own a business, which is something I always wanted to do. I'm going to name it Bluegreen Gardens, which is I collect art pottery, which is that color, kind of like a celadon color, and that inspired it. It's just like something that was always in my life around like that color.
Oh, neat. I love it.
And it actually started out first as a landscaping company. I was doing just like home landscaping for people. And then as we transitioned, we can talk about in a little bit kind of how we got to where we are now. But we just
kept the name. Well, we don't have to follow my original outline. We can just ditch that. I want to follow this thread. So, Mike, you both were at Longwood Gardens, and Elizabeth was an intern. Were you in the graduate program, or what was your role?
No, I was actually a full-time employee. I worked there for 7.5 years.
You're kidding. I forgot about that. Oh my gosh.
No, I was a groundskeeper, senior groundskeeper. So taking care of the turf areas. And then I guess towards the end of my career there, when the East Plaza was built, so like the grass steps on the semicircle, that was kind of my baby. So I was in charge of that. So.
Oh, we gotta throw a photo of that into the show notes. That's kind of an epic.
Oh, yeah, we should find some pictures.
I mean, how many people want their wedding photo taken there, right?
If Longwood did weddings, I'm sure it would be a big place. Big thing.
Oh, I see. So you might have to just go get your family photo there. You can't get your wedding.
Oh yeah,
photo.
We can do it. But I'm sure there are pictures of Mike giving his like talks on. He would give lectures and things over there. So.
Yeah.
I mean, Longwood has such an amazing reputation. It really is the gold standard for people in horticulture. So how great that you both had that connection, and neither one of you at the time was thinking about flower farming. I guess that's the aha moment, right?
No, not at all. Yes, just. I mean, Mike didn't really. I don't know if he thought about plants, but yeah, definitely not flower farming.
He thought about little short plants.
Yeah, little. Grass.
So you're from Ohio, Elizabeth, and then you guys decided to move back, or?
Yes. Yeah. So I did my internship there right after college. Mike is from the area, so he's from northern Delaware. And then, so I did my internship. I moved to DC for another internship with Smithsonian Gardens. Moved home briefly. Moved back over there because of Mike, so we were still dating. I worked in an arboretum there, Tyler Arboretum in Media, Pennsylvania, while Mike was working. Yeah, and then we got engaged, and we were actually looking over there to live, and it just, I don't know what we decided. Like, I just wanted, well, of course I wanted to be home. People, either you don't want to be home or you want to be home. I like being home with my family. But we knew eventually that we wanted to own a business, or I did, and I just felt like it would be easier with my support system, my family and friends and people I knew, in the central Ohio area,
Mhm.
rather than kind of starting out there. I mean, there is a lot of horticulture in
Yes.
that area.
Yes.
A lot of horticulture, it's very expensive as well, land and property and
Mhm.
things. So, it's like, let's bring the things we've learned here and kind of bring that back to central Ohio and try to do something
That's
funky and
cool.
cool here.
What year was that you ended up going back to Lancaster then?
2014.
Okay. And Mikey, were you all in? I mean, you're entrepreneurial. It's just that you didn't necessarily uh, have a strong affinity for flowers. I don't want to
So
put words into your mouth.
we didn't even decide that we were going to be flower farmers at that point in 2014.
No.
I
Mhm.
think we moved. We actually lived in Columbus, and her parents lived in Lancaster, so we would come down quite a bit, and we started growing veggies and a little bit of flowers,
Yeah.
and kind of did some one farmer's market. I think we were bringing.
I don't know, but that was like part-time, like
Yeah.
kind of for fun. We were not fun, but it was like, okay, we're going to do this. We had other random horticulture jobs that we were doing.
Yeah.
Then I started my landscaping. We were still doing market gardening, on the side, I guess.
Yeah. So did it all kind of come together when you found your farm? I mean, it seems like that's sort of
Yes, I would
gave you the
say
potential.
what started it was probably meeting Andrea Gagnon at the Linville Studios workshop.
Oh, right.
So we had been dabbling in flowers. I think I'd started to focus mostly on flowers at the farmers market. But it was kind of Instagram had been around for a while, but it still wasn't quite, definitely not what it is now.
Right.
But just seeing peaks of, floret of other growers, it's like, oh, wow, like this is a thing. And then we wanted to learn more. And really, once we met Andrea and did her workshop, it's like, yeah, I think we can really do this. That's definitely how it got started, like seriously. And then we started to look for land. So we were growing at my parents'
Oh,
house.
I see. You were kind of in the vicinity, but using your parents' land.
Yeah, yes.
Wow.
So they're 5 minutes away from us. So when we bought our land and our house, we weren't looking close, but it's just how it happened. But we were commuting back and forth from Columbus. It's about 35 miles.
Wow.
So going to grow and live at our house and still doing,
Other
Mike was
jobs.
mowing, and he worked at another public garden in Columbus and at Ohio State, and we were doing different things. And so we were, then it's like, okay, we can get serious. Like we saw what she was doing and knew that we had the skill sets for that. And it's like, let's get serious about this.
That's neat.
So,
That's really great.
yeah.
So today, I know things have changed a little bit as the business has evolved over almost 10 years then, right?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
2016 was when we did the Linville workshop, and we purchased some land that fall then.
Okay. How many acres do you have?
So we have 7.5 acres. We farm on, it's like a third of an acre of bed space that's field. And then we have about 4,000 square feet in tunnels.
Wow. Okay.
And then we actually did grow this past year. We had about another 4,000 square feet over at her parents where we originally grew that we let go back to grass. We put some plants over there. So
that's great. It's like a family, like your parents don't farm or garden for you, or do they?
Yeah.
They do childcare though, I bet.
Yeah, they help out a little bit with that, but no, they don't take care of any of the stuff.
Well, I know you're going to try to film a video, so maybe we'll get a little snapshot of that, and you've shared some photos, which we'll definitely include in our show notes.
So Mike is opening up what we call the big tunnel. It's the widest. It has 4 beds in it. What's in here?
So this is our first succession of ranunculus, some delphinium. Second succession of ranunculus. We threw some sweet William in the tunnel, see if we can get it for Mother's Day, because we think it'll be a good filler for everybody. We have some Orlea and then the butterfly ranunculus in the back. These are the 2 successions of ranunculus are about 3.5 weeks apart. And we got about 4 inches of rain yesterday, so you can see we stayed pretty wet.
Was it that much? 4 inches of rain? Over the past few days, we've had a lot of rain. Our tunnels get pretty wet. The walkways get flooded. So when it's cold, it's tough. We're trying to get some air in there right now. It's about 45, so we're opening up the tunnels to vent them, but then we're going to drop down into the teens and some negative digits next week. So we're trying to make sure we get some good airflow. So really it'll just be cold and wet, and that means rot and disease.
So I got us all off track with my original questions, but let's start and talk just about a snapshot of what is Bluegreen Gardens today, and how do you fit into the larger floral landscape of the greater Columbus area? Because I know there are other flower farmers there as well.
Yes.
I don't know whether it feels crowded or whether it's still very much emerging. I'd really be curious to hear that too.
Yeah, so we are very small. I mean, Mike just gave you our, our land use. It's very intensively planted, but we're very small. For the most part, it's just us. We have had some staff on and off and here and there, but right now we sell wholesale to mostly event florists, a few shop florists in the Columbus area. Pretty much they're all in Columbus, Granville area. So if anyone's familiar with Central Ohio, all within about like 40 miles of us, kind of some different directions.
Yeah.
And we also have a farm stand on the property, brand new last year.
That's awesome.
We just, kind of not the extras, but it's like what wasn't sold for the florists. And we love doing bouquets. So that was kind of my outlet for being able to do bouquets, because we stopped pretty much all the rest of our retail and CSA. So we're, we talked about your themes for the year, simplifying. We're definitely trying to simplify our business and narrowing down our markets from what we had before.
And picking the ones that are probably the most profitable too, right?
Profitable and easy. Well, I guess easier, but like more focused for what we are doing in our lives with 2 little kids, and kind of wanting to do it ourselves and be home and be flexible as well with when we're able to work.
I think that's why one of the reasons why we took that big jump into flower farming was so that we could spend more time, with our family. We didn't know we were going to have kids at that point in time.
Yeah.
Well, we wanted kids.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
But with her parents, my parents, her brother and his family.
our family is all here, but just to be flexible.
Mike, do your parents live out in Ohio now?
So they ended up moving out to Ohio.
How smart of you.
He's an only child.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, well, hey, that's awesome. I would want to be with my only child too. That's cool. So you've created this sort of, like you said about the network, or the support system, you've got that all built in.
Yes.
When I didn't mean to focus just on profitability, but some of it is just how you use your time. So for example, the farm stand is more profitable than farmers markets probably, right?
Probably not yet, but in terms of our time, yes. Of driving, setting up, being there for hours.
And you did that scene, right?
Yes, for many years. Yeah, we were doing about 3 markets a week for a few years, and we kind of slowly narrowed it down to the best ones for us, and then we just it just didn't we loved it. There are many reasons why we stopped doing farmers markets that we can go into now or not.
Let's talk about it. I mean, I'm hoping that some of those fans of yours from the farmers markets are driving out to your farm stand now.
Yes, a few are. We need to, I think, push a little bit. Marketing and sales are not my forte, but push a little bit harder to get people out here. But yes, we've gotten texts from customers and things saying, "Hey, I stopped out. Wish I could have seen you," or whatever. But that's why we have it, so we're not doing too much
on demand.
We like doing that, but it takes a lot of time to do that, face-to-face interaction with our customers.
So what is the season like? Is it kind of follow your farming season, or is it just summer?
For the farm stand, it's our whole season. So we started a few weeks before Mother's Day last year. We could have started earlier. This year we're trying to hit Easter with the farm stand, because that was actually a pretty big floral holiday.
Oh yeah, I bet.
So Easter through November, Thanksgiving, we were doing up till Thanksgiving this year. So we probably had our longest season ever, this past season.
Sure. And so, I follow you on Instagram. I'm generally familiar with what you're growing, but I don't know your whole like what you're emphasizing, and how is that is is that been informed by wanting to go deeper into wholesale and knowing what those wedding designers want, and plus you're a designer too, like
Yes.
maybe just walk us through the year of what's your first crop, what are you going to have at Easter, ranunculus or
Yeah, we'll have ranunculus, probably some anemones. We try to push them back a little bit later because when we first started growing them, we would have them in February and we'd have nowhere to sell them.
yeah,
So
how do you do that? How do you push them back a little, or how do you slow them down?
we'll just plant them a little bit later.
Okay.
We stay relatively cool, and then once like we get to April, it really starts heating up.
Yeah.
Tulips.
The normal bulb things,
Yeah,
and then
narcissus.
we like to hit spring very hard. We have a lot of crops that we grow for spring, and it's particularly with the floral customers, it's trying to extend that. So like foxglove in a tunnel, foxglove out in the field. So the foxglove in the tunnel blooms first, and then you get to the stuff in the field. Orlea, delphinium, the cutting violas.
Larkspur.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think, yeah, what do we have? It's everything that we have planted now. So when you, in the video, you'll be able to
point things
see,
out.
yeah, pretty much everything is up in green, whether it's in our high tunnels or we have direct seeded things in the fields that have, right now, just have row cover, like fabric row covers on them. That's a lot of our direct seeded crops.
It's so smart,
cress.
especially to have that kind of two phases, because the florists aren't necessarily asking, is it field grown or is it in the high tunnel? They just want the foxglove, right?
Yes.
So you get like maybe 3 or 4 weeks instead of 1 or 2 weeks, or
Yeah, hopefully longer
Like
than that.
5-6 weeks.
5 to 6. And that's a big
Awesome.
goal of ours, is to have that continuity. So really, sometimes some of our crops are even new to some of the florists, and we'll have it, say we had it for a week or two, well, they didn't even get to use it. Or, hey, do you still have, peach foxglove? Like, well, no, that was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You've got they're a little late to the game, and then it's too late, right?
Yes. And
Yeah.
so really trying to extend that, at least for, a few weeks, a month or two to get that.
Yeah. You don't want to crush their hearts.
No. Not crushing their hearts. And it's like, we feel bad. It's that pressure of like, well, we want, to give them what they need. That's why we're here. So how can we do that, really? And yeah, it's a lot of, our spring things are in. We're planning successions for, March and then June, to get fall. So really, we focus on spring and fall at this point.
That's
Everything
interesting.
always drops off kind of July-ish. Even when we did farmers markets, it's like, people are on vacation or whatever. It's really hot. And also because we're so small, we can't have everything at once. So we have to plan out our beds like with a lot of detail. Like
I see.
timing.
So whatever you're growing now, you're going to flip it for fall.
Yes.
Or late summer.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, it sounds like you have more acreage. Could you expand, or is it some of that just not farmable?
It's not farmable. We have wooded areas. We have like a ravine in the back of our house. It's also then like getting water to places. So like even we did expand some beds up closer to our house, and we pull hoses like from our house rather than where a lot of like the farm stuff is. We have like a big fence and like a deer fence and gates around some things, where we had water up there, and now it's like pulling hoses and stuff like that. So we do expand. We are kind of every year expanding, but it's more, and that we're talking about future things. If we want to talk about future of like knowing what works best in our climate, soil. We're very wet. We have heavy clay soils. We have shade because we want to keep trees and things like that. Or, perennials. We're definitely adding perennials, but it's like things like Sarracenia, pitcher plants, dogwood that will take the wet soils or tolerate more of what we have going on. So instead of beds, we're planning to add more like little pockets of like down by our creek, we'll add some things, or, along the fence line, or even up by the house as we landscape around there of like, smaller pockets of things that we know we can cut from.
That's really
instead of
neat.
like, farm rows of.
It's
you know,
just, it's integrated into your life on this land. And so that
Yes.
might mean more of a garden style planting than just production, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So talk about your wholesale. Like, are you the delivery driver, Mike, or do you how
Yep.
do they come to you? How does that work out?
So we do have people come and pick up, but most of the people in Columbus they pay for delivery. We deliver it's Wednesdays, unless they meet a minimum, and then we can kind of work something out.
If they want it
It
at a
helps
different
with
time.
harvesting. We have
Yeah.
our own wholesale website, so you have to sign up. We get all the copies of all the records that we need, and it's all listed. We try to have pictures of just about everything. If it's something new, sometimes we don't get a picture up like that first week, but we try to get it up the second week. That is
Or they're going to
available.
see your Instagram where you probably
That's
also are
most of the stuff
posting.
goes there first. That's so much easier.
And then you're getting all these direct messages like, I want that.
Yeah.
Save it for me. So are you delivering one day a week generally,
Yep.
Mike? Or okay.
Mhm.
And how it sounds like you've built that for efficiency. Like you want a full truck when you leave the farm.
It's pretty much always full. Sometimes, like Mother's Day last year, we had 3.
I don't know. We've had a couple times we've had to rent another
We've
truck
had
or
to
rent
something else. We have a cargo van, but
Yeah.
sometimes you need something a little bit bigger. So.
Yeah. That's great.
Did we do twice a week?
We used to do twice a week.
Because we also had our CSA was mostly delivery into Columbus as well. So I think that we would do a florist only delivery, and then the Fridays we would do.
No.
I don't even remember.
No, it was combined. So we would that second florist. It was kind of like it was a Thursday or Friday.
Yeah.
And it was like whatever you didn't get in from the wholesaler, we can
supplement
whatever you're missing for whatever event. And then we would do our CSA. So it was kind of like how many buckets can we fit in the van at that point in time.
And I think it was more with our harvest schedule as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But now we have to, Wednesday delivery is kind of tight at the beginning of the week. Like we pretty much harvest to order. So, that squeezes us a little bit, but then it's fine. It's like we got that. And then the weekend then is was events, but then the farm stand, and that's a little bit easier.
What days is the farm stand open, or when do you stock it?
It's this year, last season was Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Yeah. You thinking about doing that again?
Probably. It was so new. I am still trying to figure out what is the best target. Like I thought we'd get people, coming home from work or something. We're on a pretty busy road. We're right outside of downtown Lancaster. And that wasn't really the thing. I think it was more people like daytime. So that's easy for us too. Kind of like lunchtime people were running out. So it's like maybe the weekend doesn't even make sense because there's also a farmer's market, which is about a mile away from us on Saturday. Where there's
maybe you get your weekends back then.
Flower farm. Yeah, and we do. That's pretty much the bouquets are done and we load them in there. And then it's like we clean it up. Like
it's an honor stand.
Yeah, it's honored. So we clean it up whenever like we're available that like Saturday afternoon or if we're out then we don't really worry about it too much, and if we're home we go let's all go take a walk out to the farm stand and or drive the gator out and
that's the family outing.
Yeah.
Wait,
it is.
you have a 2 toddlers, right? Or what are your kids' ages?
Well, no, our son is almost 4. I guess he'll be 4 by the time this is
a
on.
Big boy.
And our daughter is 6 months old.
Oh, 6 months. I know. I remember. I think that's when I got in touch with you. Is like, oh, congratulations. You just had a second child. Remember, we were going to do the podcast.
Let's add one more thing.
Oh my gosh. So when you talked about events, I know you do some design work. Is that mainly you, Elizabeth, or how do you squeeze that in?
Yes. So I stopped doing that. Second baby.
Okay.
No more events. I would do. What was my last wedding? Well, not my last wedding was like a month before she was born. So we stopped doing that, but pretty much since the beginning, 2017-ish, people, of course, at the farmer's market ask you for wedding stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
ever since then till now, I would do full scale, like everything, or just some a la carte DIY
Wow.
buckets. We kind of have like run the whole gamut there of like scale of weddings, but we are not doing that anymore. But pretty much it was me. I have some great freelance people, like friends of ours that are great florists. We met them because of flower things, and they're friends, and we would
Yeah.
work together on that. So
Do you
that
think
was
it,
really, really fun. But it
yeah.
just brought a lot of it was a lot of planning and sometimes some unpredictability.
Yeah.
We're trying to like really kind of have a schedule going.
Yeah. I mean,
So
if you want to talk about like controlling your schedule, doing weddings is not part of that
No.
equation, right?
no.
Maybe sometime in the future you'll go back to it because it
Yes,
sounds like
I
you
love
really
this
get a lot of
hobby.
joy of it.
Yes, I love it. And we have talked about, like if we didn't have the farm, I would love to be a florist. It's very,
Yeah.
it's very hard to do both. We did it.
Yeah.
I don't know how some people do it. I guess like that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
But yes, we say, like when people still ask for weddings, I said like, I'm not doing it now, maybe 5 years from now, we'll add it back in.
Yeah.
But yeah,
You're
it was
not,
a lot.
are you doing like the DIY buckets
Yes.
for
So we're doing DIY buckets. I'll do a bouquet here or there, or we have some longer standing clients of like local nonprofits, which I still love helping them out. And that's an easy thing to do because there are
Oh.
no restrictions really.
Sure.
They
Oh,
say, here's our budget. Can you do some things for us, for this
like for a
gal?
centerpieces or something.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. That's great. That's great. How about you, Mike? Do you design work?
I get pulled into it a lot of times.
Making those bouquets probably, right? For the farm
No, I
stand?
don't do the bouquets or like centerpieces. It's normally the arches or the installs that I get pulled into, and I just get left by myself a lot of the time.
Yeah. Mike's my favorite helper.
Oh my gosh.
Say, how come this doesn't look like my picture? I said,
No.
I didn't remember.
No, he does a great job. And that's as I go, because I am more of the, I had the meetings with the client and things like that. So I am more of that face and bringing the bouquets to the bridal suite and, that kind of thing. And while I'm doing that, then he's kind of like loading, unloading, setting things
Yeah.
up. But yeah, he's
Yeah.
a
Oh my
great
gosh.
coach.
They need a beautiful grassy aisle that the couple can walk down,
If
that
we
you're the
ever had
guy.
something like that where we had to lay sod or something, I'm sure Mike would be like, yeah, we can do that wedding.
We got that. I feel like I got off topic when we were talking about your year in flowers. We kind of got all the way through spring.
Yes.
What happens after Mother's Day? What are you
we try to
growing or
get through
harvesting?
June.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So we get through June pretty much of all of our like overwintered stuff or like early spring sowed stuff. Once we get to the beginning of July, like this past year, so Beatrix, our daughter, was born in the middle of July. Great time for a flower farmer, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Good planning there, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But normally, like that would be Lysianthus, would be in that time frame. We're trying to push it back a little bit now, more try to catch like more that August, like the wedding kind of industry here. It seems like it's more the spring and then August, September, October, and now it's like even getting into the beginning of November.
Wow. And if you could have Lysianthus later, you'd sell it.
Yes.
To the
pretty
designers.
much July was hit or miss because most of the florists know you can get that locally.
Yeah.
And we hit on a little bit of other flower farms around the area, which we can talk about in a
Yeah.
second. But so they know, okay, yeah, Lizzie's hit in July, but most of them don't need them around then. So it's like
Yeah.
the second flush, maybe September. So like part of our goal is like hitting that, like when, can we have them when they actually want to use them, especially like the really pretty brown colors and the champagnes and things like that are more towards like a fall wedding palette.
Yeah.
So we're trying to
That's a
figure
great goal. I was just interviewing some other flower farmers who do farmers markets primarily in the Hudson Valley area. And they were like saying the exact same thing. Like, we've got these premium Lysianthus and the farmers market customers are getting them in their market bouquets.
Yes.
You have no idea how
Yeah.
amazing this is because the weddings are not happening in the hottest part of summer. So
Yeah.
I think that's smart. What else are you pushing to do more like dahlias and mums and
Yep.
grasses and that sort of thing, or
Yes.
Yeah, so fall we get into the dahlias. This year we trialed some snaps and stock in the tunnel. The stock worked out really. It was probably the best stock we've ever grown.
for
Never
later
growing
in
it in
the
the spring again.
wow.
Only going to grow it in the fall. The
That's
snaps never
amazing.
bloomed for us. They were 6 feet tall.
So maybe not.
Yeah,
We're going to try to start them earlier.
yeah.
But the
We'll plant them out,
stock,
though.
you can get some beautiful peaches and soft
Yeah,
yellows,
and it
and
was
so
a
that's
brown. What
The
was that?
vintage
The
brown.
vintage brown color was so beautiful. So yes, we're trying. That's how we got through Thanksgiving this year, as we really had all the mums. So we did mums for the first time this past season. Yeah, and more fall. Well, I guess they were summer planted for fall
yeah.
cutting.
That's your second season, really.
Yes, yeah, and pretty much even our things like zinnias, we might get a few before. So we call it our like July break is what we're
Yeah.
trying to do. Is like a middle
Mhm.
of July, kind of after 4th of July, a couple weeks where we're not selling wholesale necessarily to focus on, taking care of everything, and it's just super hot.
Yeah.
But we'll maybe have a few zinnias before that, but probably not even that. The past week we've been doing all of our planning for the year, and we're really pushing even our planting dates back a little bit to make sure we're hitting kind of like mid-August, and then extend that, as far as we can into till frost, which is normally
That's
mid to late October.
Wow. I just, what I'm hearing you say is so practical. And I wonder if more people could try that, where they just divide the year in half based on how you use your land and what you're
Mhm.
growing. And then you kind of just like flip it for your second season.
Yes.
And obviously you have perennials and stuff, but the things that you
Yes.
have to plant fit into that model.
Mhm.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, we've learned a
Um,
lot. It was always very stressful to try to hit that, because always before, if you think about it, yeah, it's really three. It would have been 3 seasons, like
Phases, yeah.
spring, summer, kind of that early midsummer, and then the fall plantings. And for us to get that early midsummer was very difficult, and we much prefer the spring flowers. They're
Yeah.
like, so
Y-
beautiful and fragrant and just much more interesting. And the florists prefer them as well. So it's like if we can extend that kind of the spring season or those spring typical crops, and then head into the fall, because it's like, yeah, zinnias. I mean, cosmos are great, but zinnias, celosia, sunflowers, it's like, we'd rather
Yeah.
have them fresh and exciting, and really curate our color palettes as well
Yeah.
for more of the fall wedding season.
And higher value flowers, because
Yes, yes.
the ones you just mentioned, they're seed grown, they're, kind of perceived as farmers market flowers, even though I love them all.
Yes.
But you're able to you're competing with what the wholesaler's charging, or
There's Sunny Meadows is in Columbus.
yeah.
Huge. Everybody knows
Yeah.
them. All the local
Yeah.
florists nationally, everyone knows. Huge. There are a lot of smaller farms about our size, smaller, but a lot of them are doing farmers markets or kind of just starting out. And that summer stuff is the easiest to
Right.
grow. So a lot of
Just
them
let them
do
all
like
have
that.
that.
Yeah, right. You guys got it now. We're done.
So you're really trying to develop Bluegreen Gardens as sort of like a boutique artisan, design focused
Yes.
grower, at the scale of maybe a small market, family owned market farmer, but
Yes.
just with a different product mix.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Thank you, Deborah, for describing it so well.
No, I mean, of course I know Gretel and Stephen, have interviewed them many times and I love what they're doing, but not everybody has the on-ramp to scale like they do. And it doesn't sound like you're interested in that.
No,
And
not
you
at
can
all.
still serve designers who love your eye and love what you're curating. And there's probably enough demand for everybody if you just kind of find the people who get you and love you.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's exactly.
And we have a great niche of like local florists that we really enjoy working with. We were talking about it earlier. It's like customer service too. So like, yeah, we have the wholesale website. You can see pictures, but sometimes when you see pictures, it doesn't always show the color or something like that. Or if you
Right.
Google something, you'll get 5 different shades of the exact same dahlia or something like that. So they'll call us and we can send them a picture up against other things from their palette.
That's a lot of, like detail curation, basically.
Yes, and I mean it's I never thought of it as sales, but basically it's sales. You know, if you have a sales rep at your wholesaler, which helps you, and they help you with things like that. Like, why
Yeah.
wouldn't we do that too? And it's our product that we're growing. You know,
Yeah.
like of course I'm going to send you 15 pictures of the phlox or whatever, you know, because like I want you to use, like I want your designs to be beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, we help you, you help us, like it all,
Yeah.
you know, it all works out. And we talked about Mike is the delivery driver, and we've talked
Yeah.
about, should we hire someone, blah, blah. But it's like half of his time is spent talking to, you know.
I can tell you're so personable, and they trust you, and you probably do a lot of troubleshooting when you're out and about because you hear things from people.
We help. I mean, well, you can talk about, it's like, can this be out of water, or what should I do? You know, like things like that we always think that they should know these things, or of course they, you know, but they don't, or it's a new crop.
Or the big thing, like one of our probably our top 5 sellers this year is like forage foliage, and we'll cut stuff up to 9-10 feet tall
From your
We'll bring-
property.
yeah.
So for an event florist, that is hard to come by. You're not going to get that at the wholesaler.
Right.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah,
And
so
you,
a lot of the
having done all those installations, Mike, you're like, yeah, I got
Yeah.
this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And that's the thing that's helped. It's like, we've done this, you
Yeah.
know, not on huge scales like some of them are doing, but you know, I worked for a florist for a little bit to learn some things. We've been doing this, we've done workshops, or you know other people, you know, or they're telling me this fall was like, okay, well, I want fall branches, but it only needs to be a touch of red or whatever, you know. And maybe some people won't put up with that, but we're like, okay, we can figure that out, you know.
Hey, that's why you have all that extra like forage or forest land, so you can
Yeah,
use
if
that
we
as
need
a.
to keep some of it, or we go to my parents, they have woods, or Mike used to stop on the side of the road. You know, autumn olive or Elaeagnus is a huge thing that people use, you know, terribly invasive. We have some that we just like chop at constantly here
Yeah.
on our property. But if we didn't have enough, or we're like, oh, well, these are really big straight branches, Mike would stop on 33, which is like the big highway into Columbus, stop on the side of the road and like grab armfuls and throw them into the van.
Mike, you need like a construction helmet and an orange vest so that you don't get
It does a little
busted.
scary. Speed limit's 70.
That's a good idea, though. Right, official.
Yeah. Well, let me pop up your website. I meant to do that earlier, but I want to just like show people. Okay, let's see. This is your homepage. Are you both doing your own photography? This is so beautiful.
Yep. I take all the pictures.
That's why there's no pictures of her.
Yeah, because I take them all.
This is your little guy.
Yeah, that was a couple years ago.
What's his name?
That's Jamie.
Jamie. Oh, Jamie and Beatrix. I love it. And this is some of your design work.
Yes. Yeah, there's some pretty old stuff, but yeah.
No, but I think it's still good to have it on there because this is who
it's
you're.
some of my
This is
favorite
who you're.
things. That's why it's still on there. It's like some of my favorite things that we've done.
Yeah. Well, it's also who you're marketing to.
Yeah.
So then you have your farm stand hours, which are
Yeah.
great, and then the other tab was services,
Uh-huh.
and this is where I think you're really trying to develop the wholesale
Yes.
point of view. So people have to apply for a wholesale credentials, or
Yes. Yeah. Just contact us, and we, you know, have to get their vendor's license, the same thing that everybody has
Yeah.
to do, and then get them set up on our website, which we use Local Line, which is kind of like a sales hub.
oh, what is it called?
Local Line.
Okay, so is it used by like market farmers and that sort of thing?
Yes,
Okay.
market farmers. Also, well, we're involved with, it's not even a co-op. I don't know how, like a market that sells local products, like all Ohio products in Lancaster.
Yeah, I saw that on your website. So you take bouquets to that market then?
Yeah, so we used to sell on consignment there. That was also like a big part of our start, was selling consignment bouquets there. And now actually they're one of our wholesale customers. So I do wholesale bouquets for
Oh,
them.
let's see that. I think you
It's
have that listed right
really
here.
great.
Keller Market House?
Yes.
Okay.
But so they use it as well as like a hub. So a bunch of vendors can sell through one
Oh,
thing.
they use that platform
yeah,
then, you mean?
This year we're hoping to sell retail through that as well. So we have our wholesale catalog on there. But then I'm hoping to also do kind of like our DIY stuff on there, but I can do say we have our wholesale bunches, I can also do, have a different catalog with different pricing for retail bunches.
Oh, that's great.
As-
And would those be delivered or be picked up?
Pretty much
Yeah.
picked up. I think we're done. One delivery day
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
is good.
I used to spend like 3 days a week.
Yeah, it was.
I spend more time delivering things
Yeah.
than farming.
Mike, do you have a refrigerated? You said you have a panel van. Is it have a cooler, or how do you manage that? Okay.
No, I mean it's just air conditioning. I mean everything's coming from our walk-in.
Just like
it's,
boom, boom. It's just like the transportation is 30 minutes at the most, and then it's going back into the florist cooler probably.
Yes.
Well, I have to ask you, and staring at the flowers behind you while we've been talking, what do you have back there?
Oh, yeah. What do we have? So it's a lot of our dried stuff. I still have things up from our wreath workshop. So that's in the like late fall, winter time we do like evergreen wreath workshop. So we use a lot of the dried flowers.
Wow, they hold their
So
color really well. That's gorgeous.
Yellow and orange marigolds. The yellow marigolds are one of my favorite things dried. Larkspur, celosia, some sea oats, amaranth.
That's amazing.
Oh, some yarrow even.
Wow. So we're at a period in time right now where you're super busy because you've been planting through the whole winter, it sounds like. This is no like vacation time for you.
It's slower.
Okay. It's much slower than.
Yes. Yeah. No, we're very relaxed. I would say most of our planting is done for the next year. I mean, when is our next plant?
I have anemones.
Anemones that are going to go in, but March I think is our next scheduled planting time. But it's been very serious planning. Like we've been in on the dining room table with like giant sheets of graph paper and
I love it.
Charts of days of maturity and all just what everybody does.
Yeah, it makes my head hurt to think about. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, I love the story of how you're kind of, as I said, dividing the year, but also dividing your markets from the retail and the wholesale. It sounds like you have room to grow on both of those.
Yes, that's what we're hoping. Because we've cut down, we started doing farmers markets, we were doing weddings, CSA, retail bouquets, workshops. Oh, I guess that's something else we're expanding. We had cut back on the workshops, kind of like, COVID kind of lull, and the people were back into it, but we had little kids and all of this. So we're definitely hoping to get back into the workshops, but getting that all scheduled out. But yeah, we're simplifying down to basically 2-3-ish, kind of markets, and then trying to grow within those. Like our florists are great, but like we talked about, the consistency, extending the season, extending how long we have things so that they basically just meeting their needs more. We're so small, but we want to be able to meet at least for, 3 or 4 florists if they can buy everything, almost everything
all season long
from us.
And yeah, and some of them don't have wedding every weekend, so you need to actually have more to absorb those weekends too. Mm-hmm. Well, I see all the vases behind you, so I was going to ask you if those are for workshops or not.
Some will be saved, but that's on my my task list. Is going through everything. We also have a room over here that has like bins and bins up on shelves. So I'm going to be sorting and dividing, and a lot of those will probably be going to our florist customers, saying, hey guys, we don't have flowers right now, but do you want to go through my hard goods?
Hey, by the way, I am a big collector of McCoy pottery. So when you described the blue green, that came to mind. Is that the kind of pottery you collect?
So yeah, McCoy, Weller, Roseville. I have a new going into. Mike got me a Francis Palmer, so I have a little. It's like little bits of things that I have. But yeah, it's a lot because most of those are from Ohio as well. It's like a very local.
All those ceramic companies, American pottery companies, were in the Midwest, weren't they?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Soil. It's all the clay in the soil.
Well, we'll have to text each other some photos of our favorite vases. I love it.
Yes, I love that.
Well, we'll share lots of photos that Elizabeth and Mike just sent that I'll put in our show notes. And I just am delighted to reconnect and hear more about where you're at. I think there's a lot of takeaways here for our listeners who might be trying to figure out what the next step is for their small farm.
Thank you, Deborah.
Thank you.
And we're always here. I mean, if people have questions, we love talking. We love teaching. So
that's wonderful. I love it. Thanks so much. We'll talk soon, and Happy New Year.
Yeah. Thank you. Happy New Year, Deborah.